Hi, everybody. We are live. Welcome back to the Toffee Blues late night show extravaganza. Bonanza. There it is. I am your host and co-host, Forrest Londa. It's two roles in one. And with me is your host and co-host, Quinn Books. That is a reference. Viz Bucks. Nobody will know that reference. That is from a English sitcom called Bottom. And it is the bottom of the pit sort of sitcom. It's not very good. Quinn, how have you been?
Good. Been good. Just working. Starting to get cold up in here, up in Ohio. Got some snow, which I enjoy snow. I think there's no point to cold without it. But yeah, just hanging in there. Excited for a break from work for Christmas. What about you?
Yeah, I am doing well. Just, working per usual. It feels like there's nothing new to report there. Yeah, ready for a break for Christmas as well. I think I'll be working one of my jobs quite a bit throughout the Christmas period, but the other one I'll have a complete break from. So I will have quite a few more days than I typically have free to myself to lounge around and rot, because that really, when we get down to it, that's my favorite activity, is just rotting in bed or, on the couch or in a chair, just anywhere where I don't have to be working. So our show obviously is not on the back of a derby that we thought it would be. The Storm Dara took that out. So we are just here to talk a bit about Wolves last week, just a little touch on it. Talk about the derby that didn't happen and what we think about it. Get into the Friedkin Takeover rumors that are happening, and then talk about Arsenal away and kind of close the show out. So Quinn, starting off, Wolves 4-0. It's been a full week, so there's really we should probably have 20 words to say each about it. Was there anybody from that game that you remember that stood out in particular to you?
It was a game where Dwight's delivery was really good, obviously, for multiple of the goals, which just is great to see. Can be frustrating in the reality of it's not like that every week, but I personally was super excited, and I think others have touched on this, of Broha's short little cameo was just promising, and so I'm excited to see hopefully some more minutes from him in the coming games, and hopefully that excitement for what's to come continues.
Yep.
Looking forward to, but
yeah, I agree. Dwight was putting in the crosses that we expect from him, the corners and set pieces that we expect from him. I also thought that Broha was very good in the short time that he was on the pitch. I can't help but take it into account that he was on the pitch for about 15 minutes against a team that was down 4-0. You can imagine, yes, he worked his butt off. Truly, he should have had 2 assists because he teed Jack Harrison up twice. And it was pretty. There's a reason that Jack isn't playing very much these days. It just does not seem like he is having a great, whether he's just not fit or he's just not got the confidence, whatever it is for him as a footballer right now, he doesn't seem to have it. Again, I feel like that's the first time I've seen him on the pitch and actually noticed him doing things for a long time this season. Thought the defense was fine. I think during the first half, especially, there were a few moments where Wolves probably should have scored, and Pickford bailed us out, or they just kind of missed their chance. So I still think maybe there was some defensive fragility, especially on the sides from the fullbacks. We've known this season that our fullbacks are, as good as Ashley Young has been, they're still pretty limited. But overall, good to win. Takes a lot of pressure off the team and off the players, off the Deitch, off the fans. Just everyone just gets that little bit of a lift, because we've been begging for something, 3 points, goals, anything. We've been begging for a while. So it was good. And my big disappointment was that we didn't get to take that over into the derby on Saturday. I just off the back of a win, with them missing quite a few players, I took some time back and watched their match against Newcastle. And it really seemed like, with the players they were missing and the way we were starting to find form, that there might have been an opportunity for us in this derby. So it was disappointing not to see it go on, but obviously 70-mile-per-hour winds is not anything you really could conceivably play a good-looking football match in.
yeah.
Quinn, what did you think? Were you disappointed that it didn't go on?
Yeah, I think watching, I did watch clips from the Newcastle Liverpool game as well. And just, yeah, coming off of a 4-0 win, it being the last one at Goodison, I felt like we had a good shot going into it. Um, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in that game, but I was definitely more on the disappointed side of it. Felt like it was a good coming off of that win, coming off of their match against Newcastle and them having multiple players out. Felt like, this is helpful for us. So that's a bit of a bummer, but whenever it gets rescheduled, who knows what that will end up looking like in terms of where our squad's at and their squad's at. So it could come at a better time if there is a better time. Who knows? It could come at a way worse time. Like, we don't know at this point. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of dates have been thrown around about when that game could be rescheduled. I think the one that seemed most conceivable was mid-February. Regardless, what I would hope for this at least is that it ends up being a night game, probably midweek. I think that's what this fixture deserves in terms of being the last one at a historic grounds. Just in my regular capacity, listening to a lot of podcasts from around the club, everybody seemed to say the same thing, that a 12:30 kickoff for the last Goodison derby seemed a little weird. And I know me especially, like 7:30 a.m. I was up, I was ready. I actually set an alarm for like 4 a.m. to see what the news might be, and saw it was called off. I'm like, cool. Went back to sleep and got to play soccer at 8 a.m. So that it was a win-win for me either way. But yeah, it's good in a sense that I got called off, because now we hope that this game can become a night game, become something a little more special, a little more build up to it, because it all came very quickly, honestly. So the back end of 3 games in a week, that same buildup wasn't there. Obviously, we were all still anxious and excited, but it wasn't this big dramatic thing. It just and then obviously the storm the night before made it seem like, yes, this wasn't going to go on. So
yeah, totally.
Well,
I'm glad none of us flew over to go see it.
Yeah,
Plenty of people did that.
the Australian kid.
Yes.
You saw the Australian kid. Yeah. I mean, it's probably like that. Doesn't matter. You could pick any game of any season out, and it could get cut off, and there'd be somebody there who flew over from anywhere.
Totally. That happened. I flew to England. Oh gosh, what year was it? And 2017. And our fixture against City got moved to Monday night, and I left Monday afternoon. And so, which thankfully I didn't fly from America, but I was like, well, I'm SOL here, so it's happened to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a sort of similar. I've told this story in here before. I got food poisoning the night before a game. Like the first ever game I was going to go to, I got food poisoning the night before. It didn't end up getting to go, which was a blessing in disguise, because my first game ended up being Newcastle away. Baines free kick. We know the deal, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on. Let's move on from disappointment from the derby, not happening. Quinn, there's been some talk this week, especially the past day or two, about an update in the Friedkin deal and how it might get announced next week. Does that fill your heart with excitement? Yes or no?
In general, yes. Am I extremely excited and confident that everything will be signed and done next week? No. I think that's just the reality of how the last, 12 to 18 months has gone with this club. But yeah, it makes me excited that at least there's talks of like, this is actually like going to be done soon, regardless of if it's finished on Monday or not. I'm excited that there's enough movement that we're talking about the finish line versus just like rumor has it that this is happening. It's like, okay, it's rumor has it that the finish line is like days away. So
I heard somebody say that they might hold off the announcement till Christmas Eve, let everybody have a big celebration, right, for Christmas. But like, oh, the club's finally been bought. The Americans are here to save us. It is. It's I really am looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like for the club with Americans owning the club. Being an American, knowing how American ownership can go sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really quite interested to see what happens. Obviously, this club has only ever been owned by British people, bar Farid Bashiri, who is Iranian. So to see an American come in, I'm really interested to see how the Friedkin group gets into the ethos of the club, what they come out the gates with. I think that's, you know, when I sit here and think of what's their first initial days are going to be, I'm really thinking like what their statements are going to be, what they're going to say, how they're going to try to identify with the fans. I'm gonna be really, really paying a lot of close attention to that and the wording they use. You know, again, because of the way we've been dealt with really during this Friedkin era, where it's been lip service and it's been promises that can't be kept, and it's been just a lot of talk with no movement, a lot of fluff, a lot of filler. I'm really interested to see how the Friedkins come around and are able to navigate their language and how they identify with fans. Because again, we just don't know. Honestly, all we've known for a very long time as fans, and especially for you and I, Quinn, not being, you know, only having been fans for a part of our lives rather than the whole part, is kind of what we've been fed by the owners, and it's always been hope, but never progress. You know, there'd be small steps of progress. During the Moyes era, it was consistent progress every year. Under Mashiri, it was not any progress whatsoever. It was total regression, truly, when you think about it. But it's just I really hope that they come out and have the right things to say and back it up with actions right away. Quinn, if you had to sit there and think about it, what kind of actions do you think the Friedkins could come out with that would back up some talk?
Yeah, I think depending on when it is totally finalized, I don't think that there'll be. Yeah, I'm also really intrigued. I think a statement, how they approach and speak, and the words that they use matter to our fan base and how they're able to connect and actually make statements, actions to back them up. I'm actually going to be really intrigued if Deitch is sacked like as soon as they come in, or if he plays a match or not. And
it's true.
Like, I think that he'll be sacked, and I think that will be a step that they take. But I'm really intrigued if it's like slam the door on Deitch as soon as they come in, or they let him play like manage a match or two. Which, I think it would be really naive of fans to be super upset with them if they let him manage a match after. Yeah. Just in the reality of, I'm sure that I am confident that they've had conversations with another manager. Like, I think it would be.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, like I don't think they would take over and not have had those conversations. So, I'll be intrigued on the timing. I think that is a move that like makes a statement to the fans. I will be intrigued on how they go about the like long-term project and the right now situation, because there's like the long-term project and like right now we have to figure it out, because if this team does not play in the Premier League next year in a new stadium, like I don't know what you're talking long-term. It becomes all right now.
Don't even talk about that.
No, but I'm saying like I'm curious about how they address like that, of just like what are they gonna focus on, like the right now, or are they going to focus on long-term project, or is there going to be a mix in their words of the two? So I think some signings in January. I'm sure they won't throw a ton of cash.
I would imagine to be a mix.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see who goes to Roma.
I think it'll be who comes from Roma, really?
Yeah.
No, Beto, we know who's going to Roma. Beto's going to Roma. That's done and dusted. That's going to happen. Beto on loan to Roma. You heard it here first. He's just been linked to Italian football, as he came from Italian football, so it would make some sense. Yeah. It's interesting that you bring up Deitch, because I won't lie, the win against Wolves put a bit more. It's hard to like put perspective on the team when they suck. Like when they're consistently bad for a month, like they were in October and November, it's really hard to consistently find a way to say good things, to find anything good about them. Yes, we can talk a little bit about performances, but performances weren't really that good. Now we get a win against Wolves, and what I'll say is that helped massage my fears quite a bit, because Wolves look crap. They looked awful. They looked bad against West Ham. They looked really bad. Like, and yes, the players stick up for the coach and everything, so he hasn't lost a dressing room probably, but I don't think that's quite true. I think maybe a couple stick up for him, but I think there's quite a few characters in that Wolves dressing room that that will throw Gary O'Neill under the bus happily, especially Mario Lamina. He played at center back against us. I did not get that. That guy is like a box-to-box midfielder playing center back. I did not get that at all. Anyways, yeah, I think we had a comment here from Rob Fulton saying that he feels that Dyche should go and Mourinho or Thomas Frank could come in. There's been a lot of Thomas Frank talk lately, a lot of Thomas Frank talk, and he's obviously done a really good job with Brentford so far this season in terms of playing at home, playing in a way that is quick and is a bit dominating, total football sort of aspect of getting the ball up the pitch to fast playmakers, which is not anything that we have right now. So, but he also can't seem to win away from home. And that is a big issue for me. I think, there are other managers who have not been able to win away from home at parts of their career. I think of Unai Emery during his time at Sevilla. I think there was a whole season where they didn't win away from home. They still won the Europa League. There was a whole season they didn't win away from home. So that is not a total symptom of a bad manager, but it makes me a little wary. I think somebody like Areola from Bournemouth is going to be somebody that comes up in conversation quite a bit. He's had a half-decent season. They seem to be beating these bigger clubs. But then they come up against clubs that are of similar size or stature or expectation in the league, and they don't seem to perform to that same expectation. That might be a player issue and motivation. But there's going to be a lot of names that come out. Quinn, if there were two that you could pick in terms of managers to replace Dyche, say they sacked Dyche day one, right away, sacked him, who would they be? Two names.
Yeah, I actually am slightly on the Thomas Frank train because I think I'm a big believer in culture matters, and I think that with the right backing, Thomas Frank seems to be like a big culture person. Like the culture of the team, like is important to him. How he relates to the players. We talk a lot about like in my workspace of being just like performance driven and not person driven. And I think that they have to be mixed. Like you have to do both to like reach like a transformative like team culture versus just like transactional. And from all that I've seen, Thomas Frank seems to be that kind of a guy. And so, yes, I totally hear the like, well, if they can't win away from home. But like you've said, there's other examples where sometimes it's just like in a season or with a certain club or with a team where like winning away from home is a problem. And we've also been through seasons where it's like the opposite. We can win away and we can't win a game at Goodison Park, which is
well, that's how it's been. It feels like for 3 years now, under Dyche, under Lampard, even under Benitez, we won a couple, but it was so crap. Like,
yes,
I agree. Yeah, I understand that. Well, and Rob brought up another really good point, and not a real. I shouldn't say that. Rob brought up a good point that he's not sure we could get Thomas Frank, and I've heard quite a few people say this, that they're not sure if these managers will come to us. Yeah. I think that that's just kind of fundamentally wrong. I think Everton has still very much got quite a bit of pull when it comes to bringing in a manager, especially an up-and-coming manager. Yes, you're at a side like Brentford or at a side like Brighton or whoever that is seen as a little more progressive. But when we're talking about true size of the club and the stature and what that club can be capable of and the romanticism, I know not every manager, especially in modern football, is going to think of that side of the game, but there's still a lot of pull with Everton. And when it comes down to a new owner coming in and the vision that you're going to be able to sell to a manager who's up and coming and wanting to make their impact and knowing that there has to be a next step in their progression, if that's where Thomas Frank feels, because he might feel like, look, Brentford, I've done a good job. We've stayed in the Premier League a few seasons. That's been our goal. We're not really looking to push on for European football so much. We're just trying to finish top half. That's great. But at Everton, they want to get to European football. This is an ambition, and they want to get past that. If that is an ambition of the Friedkins to get past European football, so trophies to Champions League, whatever it is, that I'm not saying this is something that'll happen in a season, but you have to start a project somewhere, and you have to sell that vision to somebody, right?
Yeah.
And if that's something, I think that's something that we can do. Again, there's still a lot we don't know about the Friedkins and how they're going to operate. But I think they have a foundation to build on when it comes to a vision for managers.
Yeah.
For them to really get the one they want to come to Everton to be able to convince them. Rob,
I agree with that. I don't think Thomas Frank would leave.
Sure, but at the same time, I mean, Koeman left Southampton. This is obviously years ago, and Everton was still not to the point of rot that we're at right now. But Koeman left Southampton after Southampton finished 5 places above us in the league. Like, we still are a draw even if we finish below teams. It's sort of like a smaller extent Chelsea. Like, Chelsea finished 9th and still are able to bring players in. You know, they've been pretty. They're in Conference League and they're still able to bring players or managers, whoever they want. And obviously they have the money. They've won things recently, but we're not quite Chelsea. But it's an example of, like, you don't have to be top of the league or challenging for top 4 every season to still be able to be this prospect for an up and coming manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think there is a prospect of it being a new owner, and you've got the stadium, and there's a build, like rebuild of like the club in some ways, and so I do think it's enticing. I don't think that like a Thomas Frank would leave mid-season. So then the question becomes like, well, do you let Deitch stay and do like a whole David Moyes or Alex Ferguson thing where it's like, oh, well, you'll be our manager. Come, like, no, what? I don't see that happening either. So in my mind, it's like someone who's available or not in a job right now, or someone
just stay till the end of the season.
Yeah,
but I don't see the. I originally saw the point of that when we were in the middle of the rot, and now we've won a game, and now I'm like, I don't get that. Like. Maybe. I mean, maybe that's wishful thinking and me ignoring the reality. Maybe there's the wind clouded my vision a bit, but I don't think there would be much point if to sack him now and bring in a manager just to the end of the season, then maybe have another manager come in.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that that's what I'm backing at all. I don't see the point of that either. It's just another Band-Aid, and I'm like sick of that. I don't think that the Friedkins are going to come in and just want to put a Band-Aid on it until May. And
you got to think when it comes to like January and signing players, if we have Deitch in, are they going to want to sign players that fit a system for Deitch? Or are they going to say, hey, look, I mean, and if that's the case, if he's still here, are they going to say, well, we're just going to be loan signings? We're going to go and try to find some players that we can just bring in until the end of the season that will keep us up, and you'll be able to play the system you want to, and we'll go from there. But I mean, Jay, we need to strengthen the squad, and I don't know. I mean, if there were 3 positions we could have players in, Quinn, where would you sign them?
You didn't give your manager statements on who you'd.
I'm not going to. No, Graham Potter or give me a second. Not David Moyes, not Carlo Ancelotti.
Gosh, I'm so pro Carlo. Don't even talk to me about
that. Carlo. Get
I am a never go back to your ex unless it's Carlo Ancelotti. That's my mindset for managers for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there's mine. You didn't give me yours either.
Well, I was gonna say Graham Potter is like my in my head realistic, like
he seems to be hot property, especially West Ham.
Yes, but I think. Like if we
around him, I'm sure
I believe that he's somebody that they've at least had a conversation with at this point in my mind. And like
sure.
Do you get him in December so that he has the January transfer window to be his? Like that's where I just don't see someone who's in a current job being in a position like that where they would step in before January starts to be able to have January as their own transfer window. So anyway.
I respect that. Thank you for that insight. All right. 3 players, 3 positions we need in January most. Go. 3.
Right,
you can't say
left back, winger.
Winger. We already talked about this. Right back, left back, winger. Yeah. You can only choose one fullback though. So another position.
No, that was not a statement made.
Left back, by the way.
Huh?
That was your statement. Those are the positions.
Yeah. What did you You cut out for me. Don't know if you cut out for everybody else.
Oh. No, it's okay. I said, what did you said that's my statement.
It is. Those are my positions.
Total loss of translation there. Statement signing. Rob thinks that he's going to make a statement signing. Like in January, who would that be, though? What would that look like? What would a statement signing in January look like for Everton? What would that look like? You don't know? Nothing? Marcus Rashford, duh. No. 4. He's going to go from 325K a week to 400K a week at Everton. This is written in the stars.
Yes, of course, silly me that I didn't make that statement.
Evan Ferguson would be the one. I would actually, look, we don't really need strikers at the end of the day, but I'm also of the mind that we should probably just like let Calvert-Lewin go in January, like just get a nominal fee, 5-10 million for him so he doesn't leave for free and let him go and bring in some, I don't know. I mean, their injury, I don't know. It's
really hard if we lose Dom and Beto and don't bring somebody in.
Right, but I would imagine we would, and there's players like Evan Ferguson available. I'm sure you're worried that Friedkin will turn us into Watford with sacking managers. I don't know. Yes, they've sacked quite a few at Roma already. I don't know. I wouldn't worry about that. I think there's been some statements released that they said that they've learned from their mistakes at Roma, whatever that means. Again, this is kind of the lip service stuff we've talked about before. Oh, look, it's so much speculation with the Friedkins. Every time we talk about it, it's just a speculation, just builds and builds. We're not really going to know until another week or two. So it's good to talk about. It's fun to talk about. Let's talk about reality for a second, Quinn. Let's talk about reality. This upcoming Saturday, we've got Arsenal. We've got Arsenal away. Quinn, do we have a hope? Is there any hope for us?
Well, I feel like you're going to say you have hope because you just talked about how you're blinded over the last win that we had. So
I have meager hope at best. I do not really think that we will win this game at all. I think it might go along the same lines as last season's, where we will play them decently well, but I think this will probably be more of a capitulation like United this season was, where we might play well for 15, 20 minutes, and then they score first, and that's it.
Yeah, I was trying to look up their record this season on how many times they've been shut out. Twice they haven't scored, because I think the only way we take a point is if we keep a clean sheet. So, which Bournemouth kept a clean sheet, and actually that might be it. Oh, and Newcastle, there were 2. So
yeah, we'd all be fine, Ripper. To be honest, we all would. It'd be nice.
Yeah, but I just think unless we keep a clean sheet, probably don't win the game. But
yeah, Rob. I mean, that was something I felt going into the United game, that we were going to get hammered, and that ended up happening. The win against Wolves kind of makes me feel a little less apprehensive, but the issue really comes down to how clinical are Arsenal going to be. If they don't take their chances and we get lucky, then yes, we might not get hammered. We might not lose. We might draw. I don't think currently we are clinical enough as a team or organized enough. And that's hard to say with a manager like that. You wouldn't expect to say that, but we're not organized enough as a team to be able to go to the Emirates and play a strong defensive performance. They're going to have their chances. And I think the issue is they'll only have to take 1 or 2 of them, then that'll be it. This could probably end up being a 2-0 where we have 20% possession, maybe have 1 or 2 shots on goal, but it's just crap. We don't look good. It's not fun to watch. We don't do anything. It's just hopeless long balls forward that they deal with easily. And look, Arsenal are no pushovers defensively, really. They're not. Like, they're better at set pieces than we are, which is saying a lot. So they'll be able to negate our threat on set pieces while having some of their own on set pieces. So if we sit low, they play for corners, they get the set pieces, they can score from them. If we try to play out, they cut through us and they score. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I don't think we're good enough to be able to go there and get a point without getting really lucky. So I do think we'll lose. I don't think it'll be a super hammering. It'll probably end up being like 2-0.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep. Hate to say it. I don't expect any changes either. I don't think he's going to drop. Oh, blurry. That's great. I don't think he's. Oh, it's good. It's bad. I don't think he's going to drop Mikolenko. I don't think anybody in defense and overall is going to get dropped. I would imagine that it's just going to be Gay, Decore, Mangala again. McKeel on the left and Dye in his worst position on the right. I really hated him on the right against Wolves. It was awful to watch. I felt so bad for him because he was trying so hard. He could just not get through because he is a right-footed player who wants to cut in. So why he's not going to take it down the line to put a cross in. He wants to cut in and get around somebody and play somebody through. So him on the right's kind of wasted. It just doesn't work. His moves are set up so that he can cut in from the left and take it past an opponent. He can't cut in from the right on his right foot because the players are going to read that and take the ball. It happened to him like 4 or 5 times against Wolves. He was one of the few who didn't look like they had a great game. It was just because he was stuck in a position that he's not going to be good at. I feel for the guy. And somebody, I think the Echo put an article today saying he was going to have to wait for his turn to play 10. He is. That stinks. It stinks that he's going to have to wait his turn because it's where he deserves to play. But when we really look at this team right now, it's probably the best way we have to play right now. We can't have Lindstrom in because he doesn't do enough and he's not defensively strong enough. We have to have Decore in because we need that third strong, solid midfield. Even though he's playing as a 10 technically, he's not. He's still pressing. He's still engaging in that press that we need up front to be able to unsettle defenses and be able to cause the chaos we need to be able to do anything on the pitch going forward. So, yep, there are changes. Quinn, are you expecting any changes?
No, I can see the same starting 11, fairly straightforward for similar reasons.
You pick for hits up or something? It's a joke. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. All right. Well, I have a weird question for you. But Arsenal, I kind of have a soft spot for. If I didn't support Everton, I'd probably support Arsenal. But
wow,
that's not going to happen. It's just they're. I just like them as a club, honestly. They're a London club, so they're a little dramatic at times, and up their own sometimes. So there are parts of them that never really drew me to them as much as Everton. But I also like they've always had some really great players. Do you have a favorite Arsenal player? Any player from Arsenal that you've admired a lot over the years? There's an easy get out of jail answer.
I mean,
it's my answer.
There's Arteta, and then there's Thierry Henry. I mean, those are my answers.
Henry is it?
I mean,
I love me some Thierry Henry.
I'm totally like falling more like big fan of him with the whole Champions League like quad of that. Like so entertaining. I'm so entertained by them. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm talking about them.
I like Thierry Henry a lot. I've always liked him as a footballer. Him and Ronaldinho, when I talk about players that never played for Everton, those are my two tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, but look, Prince Rupert, you want to see them win the league. It's only because we don't want to see Liverpool win the league, honestly. Like, it's Everton or nobody to me, buddy. I'd rather they all end in a tie and have to share a league title 8 ways before anybody wins it over Everton. But that's okay. Yeah, I'd rather somebody new win the league at least. It doesn't seem like it's going to be City this year. Chelsea, are having quite a bit of a renaissance, and we can talk about Chelsea and City a bit since we're playing them next. This run in December, it feels like the only teams that we're going to be able to beat were Wolves and Forest, but City look awful. City look awful.
They do look really bad. But you know what's concerning is that I could see us taking a point off of Arsenal or Chelsea and getting absolutely blown out by
City and being their little we're back at the rallying cry
and
team.
It just sucks to feel that dread coming where it's we're gonna take a point off of one of the other two and we're gonna lose 4-0.
To City. We're gonna roll over 4 of 11.
That meme of where it's time for Everton. That's exactly what I think.
And even kind of for Arsenal too. Arsenal have had a bit of a crappy run of form lately too. They haven't been doing too well. They could probably come in realistically and steamroll us and be like, we're back, baby. Yeah. And United did it to us. Anybody could, honestly.
That's just crazy. What is such a bummer about the mental state of us as fans. And I'm sure that there are players who think about that where they're like, oh, we've been here a few years and this is someone's in a rut. They'll probably absolutely demolish us.
Maybe. I'd like to think they wouldn't think about that too much. You imagine that wouldn't be a mentality that would go around on Fitch Farm. But I do, you've been on Finch Farm before. I have too. I know sometimes some of those guys there, especially like the who are they? Like the old boys, like the guys who played at Everton before and kind of have like the comfy jobs where they just got handed it to them. I don't want to talk ill of anybody in particular, but during my trips there, it was kind of like, oh, they're kind of talking down about a lot of stuff, like a bit of a negative attitude sometimes, like and like it's a joking British dry humor, but at the same time, that kind of gets to people sometimes. It's just it's a little infestation. I don't like it. I don't like it. But yeah, I totally could see us being City springboard to getting themselves back into the league title conversation.
Yeah.
And against Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea are just red hot right now. They look like they've really found a formula with Cole Palmer,
yes,
and Madueke and Nkunku especially. I love Nkunku, man. I love him. He was one I would have killed to have it at Everton a long time ago, but never meant to be. I mean, Cole Palmer is just far and away top 3 player in the league and probably a top 10 player in the world right now. He's just really silky smooth left-footed player who can play just about anywhere on the pitch, man. Like, this great eye for a pass, just knows where the ball needs to be at all times, can execute everything. Like, man, like it's never Everton that have a player like that. And obviously it never will be because it's Everton, right? It's crap, but it's Everton.
Yeah, it sure is.
You think we have any chance against Chelsea, Quinn? At home. It's at home. We play well against Chelsea at home.
It's true. I don't think we do, but I don't think that is because of us per se. I think we'll play really well, but Chelsea are just flying right now, and I think that they're just.
I like that.
You
think we'll play really well? I like that.
Yeah, I'd like it too, but I still think Chelsea. I think Chelsea in their current form just look really good, and I think can see games out. Like, good teams can win games that when their opposition plays really well as well. So that's where it's like I think it would be one of those games where we walk away like played really well, and we lost, which is a bummer, but it's just the reality.
So let's look ahead to Forest as well then. So Forest is at the end of our of that 3-game stretch right here that we have coming up in Arsenal, City, and Chelsea. We get to Forest, right? Say best case scenario, 2 draws and a loss, right? And we get to Forest. And the Friedkin Takeover has happened. Deitch has had those games, and now we get to Forest. Do you think that Forest becomes a scenario for Deitch that's like, do you win this and you keep your job? Do you think that he's built up enough by not losing enough games, like not getting battered? Like, what will it take for do you like Deitch to get sacked again? Because we got to come back to this question. You think he's going to get sacked right away if they come in the middle of this run? I can't see that anymore, honestly, unless we get battered every run and there's no fight in the team. I think I've reversed my opinion quite a bit. I do think he will stay till the end of the season.
I think my actual genuine thoughts depend on when the deal is done. Like, when the Friedkin Takeover, like, it is done, it is finished. If that happens on Monday, I do think Sean Deitch gets a game or 2, and then I think there's a thank you so much, we're parting ways by mutual consent at the end of December to start fresh in January. If the Friedkin thing gets drawn on,
regardless.
Huh? Yeah, I think that happens regardless. I think
go ahead.
I think if the Friedkins, everything is like finished by next week, Sean Deitch gets a game, 2 games, 3 games. Come the end of December, they say, hey, like, we are like, thank you, Deitch, for stepping in. Like, as we take over the ship, like, we're going a different direction by January 1, and we have a plan, and that's what we're going with. If the Friedkins don't take over until like the middle end of this run, I don't know what happens. I could see him staying till the end of the season. I think it really comes down to, can a January window be a new manager's window, or will it be a Sean Deitch window? And that is where I think if it's a Sean Deitch window, he stays till the end of the season, unless there's a really, really bad run of games this spring. Then obviously it's a different story.
Again,
but
yeah. Right. If we are in a relegation battle still, like a very heavy relegation battle rather than because
Yes.
we're 5 points above the relegation zones right now, which is not bad. Obviously, coming up to this run, who knows? We could be in the relegation zone by the end of this run. So there's a lot up in the air, and it is still a very tumultuous time for the club. But
yeah,
I just hope for the best. Quinn, best news of the night as we end the show out. What are we doing in January?
We're gonna be at Goodison Park.
What are you doing, Quinn?
We're gonna be at Goodison Park. That's what we're gonna be doing.
We're coming back. We are coming back. And what is really special about this trip for both of us is this is the first time we're going to get to see a game together. We talked about this before, but it's actually happening now. Tickets are all bought. We're there to go. We're coming back to Liverpool. It's going to be nice to be back. I love spending time in the city of Liverpool. I will get to go to Tottenham at home and Villa at home. We will both be at Villa at home. We'll give you our seat numbers and where we're staying so you can come and hound us and yell at us if we lose and say, you're the bad luck Americans. So get out of here. That's okay. I've been to plenty of losses.
I guess this is like a great time to break public news to you, Forrest. I will be photographing the game, and I will not be sitting next to you.
No shit. Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
How did that happen? Wow. What?
I didn't burn a whole bunch of bridges when I was over there. That's how.
I didn't think you'd burn any bridges.
No. Yeah. There are really good people at the club.
Yeah.
And Tony is one of them. So, yeah.
So, so how's that going to work for you? What? You're not going to sit with us? What's the point? Why would you do that?
We can take pictures of you, Forrest, and we can see each other. We're still going to, nothing is different except for where we're sitting for 90 minutes.
Where are you going to be at? Where are you going to be sitting?
More than likely behind, I guess I don't know if I'll sit in the same spot, but sat in the.
What are you going to know? Find out when so I can make sure I have a ticket right there.
Well, I'll be in the corner. I'll be in one of the corners. But last time I shot in the attacking. Like if they're attacking the park end, I sat on the left side of the park end, not by the away fans. And then on the opposite, I switched opposite for the second half. So.
God, yeah, because you're all the attacking.
But yes, sorry I didn't tell you
that yet. Now. Actually, I'm quite a striker. No, it's okay. It's only the worst news ever because now you're not going to be sitting with us for the match. That was the whole point. Celebrate with us, and now it's not happening. It's really disappointing.
I will need to know your seats. Obviously, we will still celebrate.
If I'm with Danny, I'll be in the lower Gladys. Obviously, I'll be in the lower. So for the Villa game, I'll be in the lower Gladys. For the Tottenham game, I'd like to be in the main stands. Because I like that. The one time I've seen a game that wasn't in the lower Gladys at home, it was when I won that trip over, and they put me up in the journos and stuff. And that was fun. I like that view a lot. I like to be able to see that view again. So that's what I like because I always sit in the lower Gladys. I'm never going to sit in the park end. It's not for me. But
yeah, I'm definitely one of those people.
Wow, Quinn, what the heck? That's awesome. Really happy for you.
Thank you, Forrest.
Maybe I can talk to somebody and go to Finch Farm or something. I think I have that connection.
I don't have enough time to go to Finch Farm, unfortunately. So you'll get to do that, not me.
Well then get me in there. Get me in there, Quinn. Do it. Use your influence.
Other people we know have influence too,
Danny doesn't have that influence.
Well, I won't be there.
She doesn't have that like you do.
Danny,
if I told Danny, he'd be like, oh yeah, get her to tell him to let me come.
You'll be going to Finch Farm and I'll be on the same plane as Beto on my way to Rome. So
that's a good point. That's funny. You'll be on the same plane as Beto to Italy. That's funny. That's a good one. Well done. Finally, Quinn coming out of her shell. Jeez, it's about time. Well, if you have any recommendations on things I should do, I've been to Liverpool a dozen times, honestly. So I'm not quite sure. I think I might go to Snowdonia, depending on the weather. Obviously, it's going to be really cold. There's a couple of other, I guess you don't really call them national parks, do you? What do you call them? I don't know. There's a few forests and stuff I'd like to visit. Oh, Rob, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Oh, dude. Well, I wish there was a way that I could bring a little bit of goodness into you, man. That's a bummer. I would. Dang, Rob. Well, Goodison is awesome, man. It's a really special place. I really was hoping that my little brother would be able to come, and he was not. I think he's going to go in April. So, yeah, Rob Goodison is a special place, man. It's very sad that it's going. It is an awesome grounds. Quinn will be able to say the same.
Yeah.
We've been to quite a few grounds over the country. It's a great place. So, yeah. Any recommendations on boozers I should go to? I'm not really. I mean, by then I'll be drinking, and I'm not drinking this December, which has been kind of crazy. But
I can't
yeah,
believe you're not
I need
coming
places,
until
something to do,
Tuesday.
honestly, because I'm not going to be able to go out of the country. I'm not going to have quite enough time, and I want to. Why?
Because I leave on
do you mean?
Thursday. I'm so sad that we only have 24 hours together.
You're only there for 48 hours.
I know, but I booked my flight first, and you should have flown in a day before.
It didn't work out that way in terms of money. There was a pretty steep price difference between the 2 days, unfortunately. To deal with it, we can do so much. We can do. I'm getting it at 9 a.m. I'm going to go straight to the hospital, put my stuff. I'm already going to be in Liverpool. You know, like we'll have stuff to do.
Yeah.
Come on, Quinn, get your act together, buddy.
Right.
Well, that is it for today, y'all. Little bit of a awesome, amazing show. Just great show. Loved it, guys. Really appreciate it. Quinn had a lot of good stuff to say, and I was just there for filler. So one of those days, yeah, it's okay.
It's normally the
opposite. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah. I know. That's why I'm happy that you're here. I'm always happy that you're here. Hopefully, when you guys see us next, we will have a guest on with us. Maybe we'll discuss doing a show while we're over in Liverpool. That would be quite a bit of fun. Maybe do one with some of the, maybe like the Blue Room or something. That would be cool. I'll reach out to those guys, see if they would have us on for an after match thing at the Denby Castle. If you guys don't know what that is, it is a pub. I haven't been there, so. But I've heard a lot of really good things about it, so I'd like to visit.
I've been there.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining with us. Yeah, whatever, bro. I've been to the Royal Oak. I love the Oak. I've been to the Brick. I've been to Stanley. Well, not Stanley Arms. That's I'm going crazy, bro. I'm going crazy.
It's late.
What's the name of the pub outside of Goodison? Why am I going crazy right now? Yeah, I have to be up early. What is it? Why am I going crazy? You don't know?
No, I'm blanking as well. I went before the Derby in 20. What? 20?
It's always packed. Why am I going
Danny's
crazy,
gonna be
bro?
so disappointed in us.
Danny doesn't care about pubs.
That's who I went and met there.
The Winslow Hotel. Duh. We're so dumb. All right. Don't hold that against us. When are you over? We will be over for Villa at home and Tottenham at home in January. So which one's the night game? It's Villa, right?
Villa's the Wednesday night game.
Awesome. I can't wait.
I know. I'm sad that I'm not getting to go to both games.
I'm not now. I'm delighted. Traitor. Take
That's
pictures.
Evil. Like I said, I'll be on the next flight to Rome. Beto will be on the seat next to me, and I'll just drive him to the training ground. Just kidding, because the women and the men don't train at the same training ground in Rome. But
ow! All right, guys, it's been good. We got to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. We will see you hopefully next week. No promises, because it just doesn't feel like I can promise anything with this show right now. So, but thank you for tuning in as always. And we will see y'all soon. Take care. Good night and up the top.